Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm back at the Literacy Council with ideas on how to use manipulatives for math. These would be manipulatives appropriate for use with beginning students who are still working on basic concepts of numeracy as well as their basic facts. So one of my favorite manipulatives is this flip chart. You can see that we are on take number 22,072 for creating this video. Okay, just kidding. But you can see how you could use this to set up numbers with different place values for your students to practice reading them back to you. Similarly, you could dictate a number and have your student create it. If you need to talk about things like state budgets, it goes all the way up to the millions. You can, of course, practice math facts using flashcards. We all did it, and it works. However, it's also a little old school, and we have some newer tools that provide more variety for your students. One of those is a hundreds board. So a hundreds board allows you to develop those patterns of numeracy by saying, for instance, all of the multiples of 5. Everything in this column is going to end with a 5 as the tens place value changes. Here's all the tens. These are usually easy for students to do. They're used to counting by 5s or counting by 10s. However, if you are studying, let's say, multiples of 3, do you see how easy it is to skip count and get them used to thinking in terms of multiples? And look for the patterns there. Your students will find them through inductive reasoning. Another tool that's a newer one to the Literacy Council helps students work on addition and subtraction. Carrying and borrowing are very difficult concepts for our students. And so by using a manipulative or a model for those numbers, we can help them out. Here we have 24 plus 17. In doing so, you and I know that the 7 plus the 4 is going to be 11. But we can also show our student how that works physically by now saying the answer has to be all of these together. And they have a visual representation. It's a really cool tool to get to 41. The same works for subtraction. So here I've set up a subtraction problem. And in addition to the cubes, the rods, I've added the flats so you can see that we can include the third digit, the hundreds digit, in this position. So I've got 143 minus 35. And the 3 is not enough, right? I can't take 5 away from 3, but I can substitute 10 cubes for a rod, get that rod out of the picture. And now I've got that number represented a different way. Do you see how it's going to be very easy now for your student to do that subtraction? They actually have a physical representation. After your student understands the concepts of how to add or subtract numbers, even if they're difficult and require carrying or borrowing, there's other ways you can generate some enthusiasm for numbers. So 6 minus 3. It's a really simple problem, and the dice will only go up to 6, so therefore you've kind of controlled for the highest number your student needs to handle. If that's not enough for you, you could add 10's digits and 1's digits. So now I've got 61 minus 31. It's going to give me a very different math problem, isn't it? If you want to practice multiplication facts, you can just use one set of dice. 5 times 6 is obviously 30. Or if you want, you can complicate things. And now we've got 12 times 1 is still 12. I can handle this much math. Another way to generate random numbers with a tool and a manipulative that your student is already familiar with is to use playing cards. So clearly we can just go for random. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Oh my gosh, now we can even talk about, cubed roots. No, we're not going to go there. Not for a beginner. Let me shuffle this deck a little bit. And try again. 7 times 8, that's a tough one for a lot of our students. 56, right? You can also, again, do the tens and the ones place if you want to. Let's say we've got now 87 times 2. That's a harder problem. By using a tool that they already have seen, perhaps even have lying around their own living room, you've demystified the mathematics process and given them a way to practice at home when you're not even around. Thanks so much for your attention today. We'll have more later.